And on today's show, increasing your personal productivity. Part 4 of this week's interview with nationally recognized industry consultant, platform speaker, and author of Living a Life of Significance, Joe Jordan. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician and Innsmouth. Let's get down to business. Well, we're with Joe Jordan, and I'm looking at his 2 books. This book has sold over 50,000 copies all over the world. It's in 4 different languages. You can get it either in the book form on Amazon.com or right off Joe's website, as well as the audio version. We're talking, Joe, I'm looking at increasing our personal productivity. I want to do that. I mean, I'm German. It's part of my nature, but I love this. You have some really good stories about people who have actually done this. Yeah. And talk about this first one, Steve Mackenzie. What's that about?
Well, this was very gratifying to me because, well, Steve, I guess you're in this business too, and you're out there. You wonder if people are really listening to you, But anyway, Steve Mackenzie is with Investors Group. It's up in Canada. He was very successful. He heard me speak in '06. And I really haven't had a dialogue with him at all. And all of a sudden, I get an email from him a couple of months ago. And he said, I heard you speak in '06. And one of the things that he was going through, because he got into the business because he felt he was a natural. He was going through the normal issues of having call reluctance because he got a little nervous about making those phone calls and facing rejection. He was selling primarily investments because culturally he didn't want to be like in the insurance business, and which is, a lot of people feel that way. And so what happened was he heard me talk and he said, that seems to make a lot of sense. And what he did was he said, I always get a lot of stress, always wondering, am I doing something productive and worthwhile? And so what happened was he incorporated the daily contact commitment in his regime. And the thing that's important, and this is crucial, because remember before I spoke about the right mix of business, how salespeople and companies are at risk if people don't change behavior and begin to sell multiple products, diverse revenue streams. What he began to do was this, because he said, what? I found it really hard, Joe, to get inspired by outperforming the S&P 500 by 6 basis points. He said, I do get inspired if I could go to a widow or someone got disabled and I could make certain that their life stayed together. He said that really gave him juice. And he drank the Kool-Aid, and then he started doing the daily contact commitment. And over time, he became one of the top producers, but more importantly, his mix of business changed. He became one of the top life producers in Investors Group in his area.
And this is a gentleman that was from a ground zero, dead stop, had no insurance practice at all.
No, he didn't. Now, he did have, one of the things he was able to draw on, and this is important, he had some situations in his family, and I'm not going to go through it, but some people got sick and had disabilities and whatever, so he observed it. But you know what? He was distant from it. That happens a lot. Sometimes who we are and what we do are separate. We don't focus in on that. And so even though in his own life, people were experiencing some of the risks and calamities, he never made the connection in terms of his own business. So that seemed to wear on him too. So that's where he began to think about, if I can focus in on the potential impact I have on others, make me feel better. And he assumed the daily contact commitment. What it meant was his commitment. He never told me what it was, but once he did it, the end of the day, he didn't have to prospect anymore. He said, I had a successful day because I faced my fears and I feel better about it. The other thing that pops up with this thing is this. He felt I had a lot less stress in terms of doing it. If you follow my challenge and you commit to a daily contact commitment, I guarantee you this, you will have more real problems. Your support staff will be going crazy. You'll have more appointments than you normally do. And things like whatever goes wrong will go wrong, and you'll be very harried. You'll have more real problems, but you'll have no imaginary ones. And one of the things it helped to do in terms of Steve's case was to make him feel better about himself, to know that he always had a direction, that if he continued to do that, he really wouldn't have to worry. And he changed his mix of business, and it happened. Now, what he's doing in his office, and again, I'm telling you, he heard me once, all right? Every new rep that goes into his office gets a copy of Nick Murray's Game of Numbers, and they also get a copy of my book, Living a Life of Significance. And what he's telling these people is really what our business is about. It's not just about making money. It's really about positively impacting others. And he feels that's a good way to get people to get over their fears to do it.
Now, you also mentioned in one of your speaking when we were talking about this gentleman, Clayton Snow.
Clayton got in touch and said, you know, he was frustrated. It's very interesting as I watch people and we talk to them and, you know, from the stage and some of the things they're struggling with. And he followed and narrowed it down because, you know, your other comment was, boy, we're going back to basics. You bet. And the things that unsettle us is whether or not we're doing something worthwhile and productive. And so what happens is it raises fear, and that tends to paralyze. What he decided to do is he said, I'm going to go with this daily contact commitment. And it was difficult to get it started. You know, it's hard. You got to find the people, right? And you got to figure out a good way to get in front of them. But at least you're working on that, you know. Because you know what happens? Okay, I know this. I've seen it because I've seen this happen. You know, I know sometimes out there you go, today I'm going to make my calls. Okay, but oh, there's something here from compliance. I got to be compliant. You know, I don't want to be uncompliant. And, oh, here's something from marketing. How you sell Korean dry cleaners. No Koreans here, but they could move in. You know, wholesalers coming in at noon, so that kills a couple of hours. A free tuna sandwich. I see the Giants and Jets are playing tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, there's a technical term for it. It's called farting around. Okay, you never get around to doing it. So the purpose is that when you know your purpose and you've made those things, then it opens up the balance of the day. The thing that I really thought was great about Clayton, what he said to me, I feel a lot less stress. And that's what I'm talking about. You'll feel a lot less stress when you know that you can continue to prospect, and you do that on a basis whereby you manage that, knowing that it's the only thing that you control. And when you do that consistently, it just calms down. And then ultimately you get better. Now look, let me tell you something. If you ask 800 people to see you and no one wants to see you, you got a technical problem, okay? Ultimately, you have to create results, but results come from your willingness to face rejection. Your willingness to face rejection comes from the fact that you know that you are more valuable beyond just making money, that it's the impact that you have on others. It's a mindset that has helped others, and I think it can help you.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just go out to our site, downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. Want to email me? steve@downtobusiness.tv. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. I'm Steve Savant.